Hi everybody, how are you doing? Thank you for joining me in the den here at Friendship Shaving for a vintage shave this week. I've got a little bit of pre-shave on my face. I've just been using a water-soluble pre-shave oil from Executive Shaving. The soap I'm going to be using today is a nice bright orange, so a citrus pre-shave oil was called for. Now the hardware that I'm going to be using today. The razor is a vintage Schick Injector from the late 60s, early 70s. I just take everything out of the case and then I can show you. If I hold it up, you can see it's in very nice condition, and I think it really is a razor of its time. It's very lightweight at 29 grams, and I think it's easy to see how we can go from this style of razor to a razor with two blades and then onto the cartridge razors that we all know. There we are, it says Chic on the back, although interestingly when this was produced the company had not been run or owned by its founder Colonel Schick for many years. In my razor I have got a Schick Ultra Platinum razor blade. It is a vintage blade. But as vintage blades are becoming more and more expensive, you can also buy a Personna Gem Injector blade, and I'll include a link below so you can have a look at them and maybe do a search for them if you've not encountered those blades before. The brush today is this lovely Yaqibrush, 24mm. It is the Aqua with a Tuxedo nut. Get that in some water. And the soap I'm going to be using today is some Valencia soap from the grooming department. And as I said, this is a bright orange scented soap. And it's a very nice soap indeed. The slick on this is really great. The what's the word? The residual slickness on your skin is fabulous with this soap. So I'm just going to add a drop more water and really work the brush. I hope you've all been well and had a good week. Now I've found in using this soap that I haven't really built a very voluminous lather, but the lather I have built has been very slick and very shining. So we'll see how it goes today. It does seem to take quite a bit of water, and I've added quite a drop of water to the puck just to get some soap into my brush. And I think that will be plenty there. Now it's another Yaqibrush that I am enjoying. I did the usual with the knot, gave it a bit of a squashing when I got it. And I have to say it's working beautifully. The handle itself Well, you can see the colour is absolutely fabulous, but it is a thicker handle than I'm used to and a shorter handle, but nevertheless it is a very comfortable handle to hold. The groove seems to be in exactly the right place for fingers and thumbs. Now I'm going to really see if I can work this lather. And I'm going to take that back to the puck a little bit. And just going to wet the tips on my brush and put it back on the puck. Perhaps this is a puck that would benefit from a little blooming. Now let's add some more water. Of course, the other grooming department soap that I liked and used very recently was the lime and frankincense. I did look on their website yesterday, but there were only 3 soaps listed and all of those had sold out, so perhaps they're restocking, or perhaps there's a story there that I'm not aware of. I'm still going to add a drop of water to this. Now, I don't know if you can see on video, but I'm starting to get a bit of a sheen on the soap now. There we are, I think that will do nicely. So again, I've not really got a tremendously voluminous lather, but I know it'll be very slick and I know it'll work very well. And I've got my injector razor. Now the vintage blade I've got in there is on its, there we are, I can see you again, it's on its 6th use, and this is a very mild razor. It is a very easy razor to use. And the angle for me is quite intuitive. Come down from the flat, just down a little bit, and you're there. There we are, The lather is falling off my face almost. That's how much water I've got into it. Now I mentioned the Schick name earlier on, and it's very interesting because the concept for this razor was developed by Colonel Schick. And in 1925 he brought out the magazine repeating razor. Now it looked entirely different to this more modern day version. But what's quite interesting is that the mechanism that he developed for loading blades into the razor stayed pretty much the same, and if you've got one of those old 1925 razor blades, it would fit in this 70s razor. So that's quite fascinating. The idea behind it was that so that you wouldn't have to touch the blade and you could load the blade into your razor hands-free almost. And certainly with an injector, if you've never seen one, the key on the injector blade magazine slots into the razor. That little mechanism slides backwards and forwards, the new blade goes in and the old blade pops out. And a very clever mechanism indeed. But what is more interesting is that Colonel Schick only owned that company for 3 years. It was sold in 1928 and he went on to produce the world's first electric razor. So he was definitely a clever fellow, and that first electric razor came out in 1930. I've found that this is about the only razor really that I can use and go against the grain on this part of my neck, on the really awkward bit, and it cuts it without irritation and without any razor burn, but it is a mild razor. I find there's not very much of a blade gap on this razor, so I don't like to leave used soap or tracks all over my face, so I'm rinsing the razor quite regularly. But it is a razor that allows me to do 3 passes and then touch-ups, which I hardly ever do. So I think that gives you some indication of how mild a shave it is. It's very easy to shave on the neck. The slightly curved handle, it's got ridges on this side. So it's a very nice, easy razor to use, and if you like a mild razor, maybe this is one worth considering. There are still plenty available on auction sites. I've noticed that a lot of them seem to be available in Greece. I don't quite know why that should be. Now I'll tell you what, I'm just adding a drop of water. The residual slickness on this soap is ridiculous. It's absolutely brilliant. Let me rinse out my brush. I'll give it a cursory rinse, so we'll wash it properly in a moment, but you'll be able to see it in its glory then. I'm liking this brush very much. I'll put a link to it down below. It's selling at $20.86 on the Yaqi AliExpress site. I think it's a lovely brush. Now here we go, so I'm going to go against the grain again on my neck and against the grain on that little bit there. Now you can see that I went quite quickly there. You can see I've got all this. I don't like that. But this is a razor I feel that you can use really quite quickly if you're a morning shaver and you're in a hurry to get out the door. I think this blade is just losing its edge just a little bit. Of course, one of the problems with the Schicks is that I'm trying to get it so the light doesn't bounce. It's quite difficult to clean inside there. You can't really, apart from by pouring hot water into it. It really must have been quite a razor when it first came out, because from that original idea it was always named the Schick razor. So when other companies, because it's been bought and sold many times over the years, but when other companies bought the razor, they always called it the Schick. Now, one of the companies was the Eversharp company. And if you see one of those on eBay, because there are lots of different styles and interpretations of this razor depending on when it was made. But the Eversharp razor is called the Eversharp Schick, and I think that's rather a cool name, to be honest with you. But there we are, that is the Schick Injector, and I actually think that we're heading back to this sort of style of single blade razor. We've got razors like the one blade. Just to name one example, and I was looking at a razor just the other day. A gentleman asked that if I would try it. I was looking at the Broman razor, which takes just half a DE blade. But again, it's a very, I hesitate to say simplistic, and it doesn't look like this, but you know, we're heading back towards this sort of style. Now, believe me, there's plenty of slickness for me to be able to do this. And I've just got a little bit more left on my chin than I did last time I shaved. So the blade definitely is losing a bit of sharpness. And I'm going to stop there. As you see, that is the thing with a mild razor. Or, let me rephrase that. I find with a mild razor, you're torn between sometimes not quite getting all the hair off that you would like and going back for further touch-ups. And sometimes with that, you can get a little sore depending on the razor. I normally prefer a razor that's a little more effective than that one, but there is a little bit of blade feel on that. On the whole, if you like a mild razor, you will like the Schick Injector, or at least this version of it. There we are. Now, I'm not going to put any aftershave on today, but I am going to use my alum block very briefly. I'm not putting any aftershave on because I'm going to jump in the shower in about 5 minutes. I know some of you like to shave after you've had a shower. I find that I like it the other way around. So what I would do is once I've had my shower, then I should put on something to moisturise my face. Now I'm stinging a little bit on my neck here and a little bit here where you just saw me trying to get a little bit more hair off. But other than that, there's nothing really here. So I've had a very good shave indeed with the Aqua and the vintage Schick razor. God, the light is bright coming off that, isn't it? So that is my lot. I'm thinking of having a Sunday sit down this week, so perhaps watch out for that. Until I see you again, you take care of yourselves and catch you soon. Bye bye now.